Before we start today's show, we want to congratulate two of the other MJBulls podcasts on their 1-year anniversary. Over the last 12 months, Hemp Barons and the Deadhead Cannabis Show have established themselves as premier cannabis podcasts, and we're proud that Larry Michigan and Jim Marty, the host of the Deadhead Cannabis Show, and Joey Beckerman, the host of Hemp Barons, trusted MJBulls to produce their shows and look forward to another great year. If you're not already listening, check out Hemp Barons and the Deadhead Cannabis Show at MJBulls.com, iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you're listening now.
And what we're looking for is really a great second act, right? So we're a huge part of the growing population, not only in the United States, but around the world. So when we looked at the marketplace, we saw, look, people living longer, living better, wanting more, have the largest concentration of wealth. And as Dennis said, have these common kind of complaints of sleep, pain, cognitive health, and anxiety. And we put all of that together to create Wisdom Essentials on the products that we're going to bring to market.
From MJBulls Media, it's the Raising Cannabis Capital Show. Today on Raising Cannabis Capital, we have a great show, especially for people my age. We're joined by Tom Lamb and Denis Keane from Wisdom Essentials. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, I've been really looking forward to having you on the show because Wisdom Essentials products are designed for people in my age, a group that I read this on your website, you refer to as modern mid-lifers. I don't know if I like that or not, but to get things started, can you explain to our listeners exactly who this group is and why it's necessary to have products designed specifically for us?
Yeah, Dan, thanks for that question. Modern mid-lifers is more than age. It's much more about attitude and, frankly, opportunity and wisdom, hence the name Wisdom Essentials. When we looked at the marketplace and we saw what our cohort is looking for and what the modern mid-lifer is specifically looking for, they want to feel good in the pursuit of their next acts.
Our age group.
Yeah, our age groups.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think when we first started this thing, and Tom and me are both in our mid-50s, but what was out there in the market really wasn't speaking to us. It seemed to be like they were going for people who were going to Coachella and Sundance festivals and South by Southwest, and they weren't really speaking to us and making products that were designed for our age group. And frankly, our age group is the ones that could use CBD-based products more than any age group, really.
You know, our regular listeners know that I just love businesses and products with narrowly defined markets. That's why I look for companies that are narrow and deep. I think what you guys are doing is so clever because, like you said, the market is overwhelmed by basically Me Too businesses. You know, there's so many CBD companies essentially marketing to exactly the same people. And to define your market is a specific group that I happen to be a part of, even though I hate to admit I'm a mid-lifer. I think you're on the right track. You started to tell us a little bit about your products. Can you tell me some more products that you have?
So yes, our products are geared towards what our age group, our modern mid-lifers, tend to need more than anything. We could always use a little help with sleep. We could always use a little help with anxiety, especially in the days we're in right now in this crazy world. So we're doing a sleep formulation, anxiety formulation, a pain formulation for our bad backs and arthritic wrists. We're also doing a product called Focus, which is kind of more of a memory brain enhancement formulation because personally, I have quite a bit of dementia in my family, and it's something that terrifies me. So those are basically the formulations we're starting off with.
I think you're really onto something. I hate to admit it that I'm writing things down way more than I had to, or otherwise I forget. And you're right, the anxiety at this time in our lives, this crisis going on, is probably at an all-time high. Yeah, you're hitting all the key points for guys our age, that's for sure.
You know, we're not the old, retired, kind of geriatric people we all have in our minds, right, that we've all been kind of fed throughout time. We're much more vital, we're much more active, and we're much more curious and inquisitive than, frankly, we've ever been before. We're living longer, we're living better. Frankly, our cohort owns 70% of the wealth, And what we're looking for is really a great second act, right? So we're a huge part of the growing population, not only in the United States, but around the world. So when we looked at the marketplace, we saw, look, people living longer, living better, wanting more, have the largest concentration of wealth. And as Dennis said, have these common kind of complaints of sleep, pain, cognitive health, and anxiety. And we put all of that together to create Wisdom Essentials on the products that we're going to bring to market.
That's good. I love that second act. It's inspiring, right? We're only halfway.
Well, when we were first starting this whole thing, when we were sitting down kind of focus group and doing it all out, I was like, we're not dead yet. I just turned 56. I'm alive. I'm going. I still want to learn new things and try new things. And I think society has kind of lied to us and pushed us to the side. Well, you guys are almost 60. It's time for you to get out of the way. I'm not getting out of anybody's way. I'm ready to go. And that's what we're building this company around, is people who want to be exuberant about life, but we have some aches and pains and some things we need to take care of.
A little bit of miles. That's all it is. We just got a few more miles. So yeah, of course there's going to be some bumps and bruises. I want to take a short break to play you a preview of our next episode and to thank our sponsors.
We were frequently fielding calls from multi-state operators trying to gobble up as many licenses as they can throughout the country. And now we're getting calls more so on the sell side. And I don't know if that's as a result of COVID. I think it probably is, and could be related to a cash flow issue. But I anticipate seeing a lot of cannabis businesses trying to liquidate assets.
Tune in on Thursday for another episode of Cannabis and Corona with Laura Bianchi and Justin Brandt from Bianchi and Brandt. And now let's get back to today's show. Talk about your go-to-market strategy. Like, how are we going to get this into everybody's hands?
So we basically have a three-pronged strategy that we want to go after. Obviously, e-commerce, because e-commerce is the way of the future, and that's the easiest way to get scale and to reach as many people as possible. So we're building, the e-commerce platform right now, and bringing these products to market kind of one at a time, but quickly, but one at a time, so that we're not wasting a lot of time. We're getting in market, getting our name out there, and letting everybody kind of see who we are and get introduced to us. Mm-hmm. So e-commerce is one. Second is that we'll be looking at opportunities to kind of direct market to where the modern mid-lifers are spending their second acts. So we're going to look for communities and states and cities where folks are going to pursue their next business, mm-hmm. or their next piece of education, or whatever it is their next goal is. So we'll be looking at that specifically around places like North Carolina, South Carolina, and Southwest. So that's two. And then third is, at some point we'll be doing some more traditional retail and dispensary distribution, and we've got a couple of partnerships that are lining up for us there. By the end of this process, we'll have a three-pronged retail strategy as far as our business plan is concerned.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, especially the part about going to areas where we're heading. We're getting away from the cold weather and, moving down into the Carolinas and launching our second act there. I think that makes a lot of sense. Everything that you just laid out, pretty expensive. And fortunately, it's basically front-loaded process. You got to spend the money on all that before you start making any money. So will we be raising capital to help fund this stage?
So right now we have self-funded up to this point. Once we have everything there, then we will be looking to raise capital to kind of add fuel to the fire. There's a million companies out there saying, hey, we're going to be doing CBD. And investors have kind of glazed over their eyes a little bit with that pitch. So we're supposed to invest in a concept. We're going to have real sales, real products for people to touch, feel, and then hopefully invest.
I think that makes sense. Plus, you'll give up a lot less equity if you take that approach. You take on a little bit more risk, but like I always say, hey, if you're not willing to take on the risk, why should an investor be willing to take on the risk? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what most companies do. They start off with we want to raise $1 million at a $10 million valuation. And it's all this pie in the sky concept, nothing you can touch, feel, where we felt it's more honest, more ethical to actually do this and then show what we have and then try and raise capital from there.
Yeah, Tom, you started to say something?
To Dennis's point, we got some early feedback from some folks who basically said, look, cannabis is a really hot topic. And people are saying it's a proof of concept. Let us know what you're doing. And we believe we're doing all the right things. And having said that, we do have some investors on the side waiting. Dennis and I have decided not to accept their money until we've got the platform 100% built, which we're getting close to now. We're really close to getting our first product in the market, and then kind of put more fuel into the company. We'll probably accept some money in the in the next quarter or two.
Well, definitely when you guys are at that stage, we'll have you back on. In the meantime, we'll have all of your information in the show notes and at MJBulls.com. So if somebody's listening right now and say, hey, keep me in mind, they can follow up with you after the show, and you can talk further about it. Tom, Dennis, thanks again for being on the show. This is a exciting Act 2. I love this. I love second act. I love it.
Dan, thank you so much. You were great, and it's so nice to be on this.
Today's show was made possible by the generous support of our sponsors, like Alt36, the country's premier blockchain payment processing platform that's providing dispensaries and its customers with a safe and secure payment option other than cash. To learn more, go to alt36.com. We're proud to feature today's episode on the MJBulls Cannabis Podcast Network, a platform designed exclusively for cannabis podcasts to share their message with the world. To learn more or to enjoy another great cannabis podcast, go to MJBulls.com, or, coming soon, download the MJ Bulls app to your Apple or Android phone.